So having been an academic myself, um, for me, it was all about pushing the technology envelope, right? Building something that nobody has built before. The reality is that if you look at the successful ventures, if you look at companies, like Tesla, like SpaceX, like, iRobot, their success wasn't the product of a capability that nobody had done before. Sure, the whole notion of, obstacle avoiding, whatever, robots that kind of find their way and pick up, dust, that's not a new concept. But iRobot was able to market it and productize it and monetize it, right? So, I like to use the term impedance matching, right? So to be a great technologist, you have to push the envelope from a technology standpoint. But pushing the technology envelope doesn't necessarily translate to impedance matching that incremental or even quantum leap in kind of technology to an interesting business, a large business, right? So in order to do that, you have to impedance match the need with the tool set that's available to you. Now, sometimes you're like Elon Musk and you create a new rocket engine, or you create a new battery management system to be able to disrupt and create an attractive business that would leverage that innovation. But it's usually less about kind of that, the hardcore technology innovation, which is what roboticists do, right? So roboticists are focused on, I mean, what we're told when we're getting our PhDs is what you're doing is so important that you're going to change the world by, by pushing the state of the art, right? And that's what kind of compels us to sit down in, like, labs underground for 5 years, spend 5 years of our lives under there not getting paid, or getting paid $20,000 a year to do that. That's the motivation. But it's not quite true, right? At the end of the day, you create something, but it's not really useful to anybody unless unless either the government, for example, develops it further, or somebody turns it into a company. So somebody can do that impedance matching function. Now, there are academics who've been able to do both, invent something and turn it into a great company, but that's rare and very
It
difficult.
is.
So I guess the secret is, to answer your question, the secret is to, identify a need, identify a white space that has dollars attached to it, that has people that have deep pockets that want to pay, and see what, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bleeding edge technology. See what's out there that you can integrate and solve their problem without having to spend a ton of money to get you to the point where you can have that kind of initial, I guess, proof of concept for them to be able to play with and use, and then slowly, engage further with you. So, for example, if you want to remove certain aspects of human labor from Flextronics manufacturing lines. So right now there's people standing in stations like phone booths flipping circuit boards, right? If and putting them into different trays, for example. If you want a robot that does that, come up with a way to use the best available technology and minimize what you need to invent, and just find the cheapest, fastest way to get something into their hands that they can play with, and find a way for them to engage with you, okay? And then from there, you can work with them and get a better sense as to what the larger opportunity really is. And then you can use that as proof behind your hypothesis as to why this can be a large company. And then you can take that to investors, should you choose to take their money, by the way. In my opinion, only a small fraction of successful businesses really make sense for venture capital, because with venture capital you're putting 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 million dollars to work to really accelerate a company quickly, and that only applies to companies like Pinterest and Uber and Twilio, are these companies that achieve massive growth. The reality is that most areas that robotics is getting into, manufacturing, let's say, healthcare, these are slow industries. And so, you know, automotive manufacturing. I mean, these are industries that don't that if you pump venture, I used to call venture capital money like steroids. If you pump steroids into it, it's really not going to it's not going to go very fast. So it may not be the best kind of fit for venture. But then if there's an area that you've identified that can grow very quickly with the help of venture money, then absolutely, we'd love to talk to you.